The following video is meant for entertainment purposes only. Betting involves financial risks and claims. Always bet responsibly and never wager more than you can afford to lose. Hello everyone, this is Romano DeFranco here, and it's that time of year again. It's the Stanley Cup Playoff Predictions show. This is the series where we predict which teams are going to do well in this year's playoffs, and if you're in a playoff hockey pool, this is the info that you need to know. The regular season is over, and there are a few teams that surprised me, as well as some that disappointed me. In this year's playoffs, we say goodbye to the Winnipeg Jets from the Western Conference, as well as the Florida Panthers, Toronto Maple Leafs, Washington Capitals, and the New Jersey Devils from the Eastern Conference. We welcome the Utah Mammoth and the Anaheim Ducks in the West, as well as the Pittsburgh Penguins, Buffalo Sabres, the Boston Bruins, and the Philadelphia Flyers in the East. So, let's talk about the clubs that defied my expectations for the year. To me, I think the biggest surprise this year is the Buffalo Sabres for sure. It is to be expected they have such a great goaltending tandem of Alex Lyon and Ukko-Pekka Lehtinen, or UPL for short. On top of that, Buffalo was led by two of the leading scorers, Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch. With these two and more, the Sabres finally made the playoffs for the first time in 15 years since 2011. Lindy Ruff was the head coach last time they made the tournament, and he's their head coach now. Not only that, but none of these players were active last time Buffalo made the playoffs in 2011. The other notable surprise has got to be the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sidney Crosby is continuing to lead the team by example, considering that he's in his twilight years. He has scored over a point per game pace for 21 consecutive seasons. With others joining him on the score sheet, Pittsburgh made the playoffs following a 3-year absence. On top of that, the Boston Bruins were another team that defied expectations. David Pastrnak is enjoying himself another solid year as he has reached triple digits 4 times for the club, closing in on Phil Esposito and Bobby Orr, who each did that 6 times for the Bruins. This, coupled with the Bruins' goaltending tandem of Jeremy Swayman and Joonas Korpisalo, helped Boston get back into the playoffs after a 1-year slump. One last surprise this season was the Utah Mammoth. It is to be expected that the acquisition of J.J. Petricka really helped them out. If that's not enough, the team was led by Clayton Keller, who scored at a point-per-game pace throughout. The impact helped the Mammoth qualify for the postseason for the first time since the club was still in Phoenix. Now that we talked about the positive surprises, let's talk about the teams that disappointed this year. The biggest disappointment for me was the Toronto Maple Leafs. For starters, Mitch Marner's contract expired last year, and the team was never able to re-sign the former All-Star. The loss of Marner, coupled with Anthony Stolarz' inability to duplicate his performance from the year before, caused the Leafs to go from 2nd in the East to 15th. Yup, that's a big drop-off. Before we get into our first round predictions, let's recap what happened last year. The Florida Panthers successfully defended their title as they beat the Edmonton Oilers in 6 games. It sucks that they won't get the chance to do so this year. They join a handful of teams who will miss the playoffs 1 year after winning the Cup altogether. Okay, now I can get into my first round predictions starting in the West. The Colorado Avalanche will play against the Los Angeles Kings in the first round of this year's playoffs. Colorado enters the postseason having clinched home ice advantage for the entirety of this year's playoffs, while Los Angeles barely made the playoffs in Anze Kopitar's final season. It's always a good thing to make the tournament in any athlete's final season of play. Coming into the series, the Avs have won every game against the Kings, including a solid 4-1 win on opening day. As a whole, these two teams have met twice, which was in the early 2000s, with Colorado winning both of them. Even though the Avalanche won the regular season series, don't count on a quick exit from Los Angeles. This is going to be a long, deep playoff series, but in the end, I'm going for Colorado in 7. And on top of that, I'm going for the Avs to win the Stanley Cup this year. The Dallas Stars will pit against the Minnesota Wild. Dallas went 2-1-1 against Minnesota, and yes, that includes a 5-2 victory in their home opener. This is the third playoff series that features the former Minnesota franchise and its current one. The Stars won twice, including recently in 2023. I'm not expecting much from this series as I'm going for the Dallas Stars in 6 games. The Vegas Golden Knights will go head-to-head with the Utah Mammoth. Vegas barely won their division title despite a coaching change late in the season. On the other hand, the Utah Mammoth had just clinched a playoff spot for the first time ever, and they just ended a 6-year drought that dates back to when the franchise was still in Arizona. If you look at the season series, Utah won 2 of the 3 games in the regular season. Well, you sort of had to throw that out the window because what you do in the season doesn't matter anymore. For all that being said and done, I'm going for the Golden Knights in 5 games over the Mammoth. The last playoff series from the West will feature the Edmonton Oilers and the Anaheim Ducks. The Oilers come into this year's playoffs having made it to the show for the 7th consecutive year. Meanwhile, Anaheim ended a 6-year drought and are back in the playoffs for the first time since 2018. If we examine the season series, Edmonton is the favorite to win this series, of course, having won 2 of the 3 games, and that includes a 7-4 win for Edmonton on January 26. The stats don't lie. The last time these two teams square off in the playoffs was in 2017, where Anaheim barely won that series in 7 games. I'm expecting this series to be a short one, as I think the Edmonton Oilers will take this series in 5 games over Anaheim. Okay, now let's go into the Eastern Conference, shall we? It looks like the Buffalo Sabres will square off against the Boston Bruins. These two teams have had a long playoff history against each other. As a whole, Boston has won 6 of the 8 series against Buffalo, and these teams last played in the playoffs in 2010, which was a year before the Sabres' long playoff drought. Their drought no longer matters, having clinched a playoff spot. If we look at the regular season series, this was a season series that Boston has won, going 3-1 in that span. Although the Buffalo Sabres finished higher than Boston, I think that the Bruins are going to stun the Sabres. Let's take the Bruins in 7 games over Buffalo. Also, the Montreal Canadiens will see the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round this year. Montreal had a terrific season the year before, and this year, they went even higher by finishing 2nd in their division. In the regular season, Montreal won half of the games in the regular season against Tampa Bay. This is the 5th playoff series involving these two teams, with Tampa Bay winning 3 of the 4 previous series. Even though Montreal had a great regular season, their playoff run won't last, as I'm going for the Lightning in 6 games. In the Metropolitan Division matchup, the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers had just renewed their rivalry. These two teams have had a long playoff history against each other. They last met in the first round of the 2018 Stanley Cup Playoffs, where Pittsburgh won that series in 6 games. If we examine the regular season series, Pittsburgh clearly dominated the Flyers, which included a 5-1 win on December 1st. This is the 8th time that these two teams will see each other in the playoffs, with Philadelphia having won 4 of the 7 series. Although Pittsburgh outplayed Philadelphia in the regular season, don't count on them because I'm going for the Flyers in 5 games. The final series features the Carolina Hurricanes and the Ottawa Senators. This is the first time ever these clubs will see each other in the postseason. This was a regular season series that the Carolina Hurricanes won on paper, with the only loss happening on April 3rd, which was a 6-3 loss. Even though the Ottawa Senators had made the playoffs in back-to-back years for the first time since 2011-12 and 2012-13, I'm expecting this series to be a short one, as I'm going for the Hurricanes in 5 games over my favorite team. It's crazy! Anyways, this concludes my predictions for round 1 of the 2026 Stanley Cup Playoffs. What do you think of them? Do you have different opinions? If so, you can let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next round.